Mr. Babet, can we start now? I guess there's 50 of us here.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Let's start. Would you like to introduce me, or you just trust me
Yes,
to run the whole
I
presentation?
guess I got the chance to introduce you and have a quick tips on how to access our resources. So I might start now first. Okay. Everyone, hello everyone. Good afternoon and a very warm welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining our exclusive webinar on Smart Research with Science, exploring WoS Research Assistant and AI tools, proudly organized by Clarivate, by Mr. Pavel actually, and with us, Sakaan Tungkutun Aminah Yutasham. We are truly excited to have all of you here today, researchers, postgraduate students, lecturers, and librarians, ready to discover the smarter side of research using Web of Science and AI tools especially. Okay, in today's session, we'll explore how Web of Science empowers researchers through its latest features, including the Research Assistant and AI-driven tools designed to streamline literature researches, research topic exploration, and analysis more efficiently. Okay, before we proceed, let's take a quick look on how to access Web of Science through PTT websites. Okay, I will share another screen of mine. Okay, this is our PTTA websites. So the address is library.utasham.edu.my. From here, go to resources and choose e-resources. From here, this is the list of e-resources available at PTTA electronically. Scroll down until you see article database. Okay, from here, you saw Web of Science and click the button Explore. Login is via UTASHM staff or student ID, which is full. And single sign-on 6 digits. It will prompt on your phone actually. Okay, once successful, you may notice an acknowledgement label indicating that access provided by UTASHM. Let me show. It's on the bottom of the page here. So this is how you know that confirming that you are recognized by a valid UTASHM user. And for off-campus users, simply connect via UTASHM VPN or remote access, a link provided with the library. You can refer to our websites. Okay. And now the moment we've been waiting. Mr. Pavel, are you ready?
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And let me share my screen. I'm going to just share the entire screen, and I hope that's okay for you. And if you could confirm to me that you can see my screen right now. Is all good? Can you hear? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, so this is my Web of Science screen, but obviously I didn't just come here with the live interface of Web of Science. I also prepared some slide deck for you. So by now you should see the slides of my presentation. The plan is this. I will show you some slides of the presentation just to give you the idea of different search options that you currently have with Web of Science. I know it can be overwhelming, so we will do some systematization about them. And then we will jump into live interface, and I'll show you everything that I was been talking about. So we definitely spend a lot of time playing with live searches and live prompts with Web of Science Research Assistant today. And without further ado, let's just jump into the slides. So um, maybe just a few words about myself before we start. I work with the Clarivate for more than 20 years, and more than 16 of them I spent with Web of Science and various analytical tools based on them. So I might still be quite new to the region. I spent a couple of years working with Malaysian and Singaporean customers, but I'm not new to the company and to the concept of academic search. So this is approximately how you might have found our Web of Science interface in the recent years. The idea is it was constantly improving. We were always working on simplifying the user experience and user interface for you, while still integrating all the new smart tools that are out there in the market, something that we developed ourselves, something that we just thought, okay, AI or generative AI capabilities, we should think about how we add that to our interface. And at the moment, we have quite a number of different searches that are available for you in Web of Science. So first of all, there has always been this advanced search, which I'm talking about on the right-hand side of the screen here. So it is, and it's not going to go away. It has been there for years, and it's very widely used by researchers in different universities, by the academic administrators. And the idea of this search is that it might look a bit more complicated, specifically for the students, specifically for the early career researchers, because it's Boolean, it uses wildcards, but still, that's the search that normally returns the most relevant and the most reproducible results. So it's going to stay there, it's going to be there, but we also know that there's a newer generation of users that instead of reproducibility of the results and instead of maybe highest relevance of the results, they need the search to be quicker, they need it to be more semantic, they need it to be easier to understand without really having to digest all the different metadata fields that you can search for. And with that in mind, we also added smart search. So just to give you a bigger picture, the main idea of today's conversation is actually even another thing, which is called Web of Science Research Assistant. It's an AI-powered tool. But just because smart search has recently become available to you, I need to talk about that one as well, just as a small bridge between the classical search and the GPT-like search or GPT-like conversations. So with that, smart search is the one that automatically recognizes your entities and the intent which you're trying to search. It is semantic. It does have the type aheads and autocorrection in case you misspell certain words. It is available in multiple languages, and it returns to you both Web of Science scholarly document records and researchers. And it provides quite transparent results, although not as reproducible as the advanced search. And what I mean by that is, if there are two people that might type seemingly similar search query from two different accounts, the results might sometimes vary. And that contributes to less reproducibility. But again, if you want reproducibility, you would probably want to use the advanced search instead. So with that, let me very quickly jump into Web of Science and show you what that looks like. So my interface might slightly differ from the one that you currently see, just because here in Clarivate, we are internal Clarivate employees. We sometimes work with a stable environment that is also used for QA. But essentially, if you log into Web of Science, as you've just been showing, you more or less going to be seeing the same interface and the same buttons. So currently, by default, I am in my advanced search window, where I can type anything like, let's say, CubeSat for cubical satellites, and when I'm trying to run that search, oops, excuse me, I'm searching in the address field. So that's the issue number one when you're trying to use the advanced search. Of course, we want to use the topical search if we are typing in a topical search query. So what is a topical search? That's a search that searches for matches in the title, abstract, or the keywords of the documents we're searching. And when I'm doing that, I'm seeing more than 5,000 results that contain the word CubeSat in either its title, its abstracts, or in the keywords. And by default, they are sorted by reference, excuse me, by relevance, which means in the top we have the document that has the majority of of mentioning of the term CubeSat or CubeSats. But what we can do, the most powerful feature of Web of Science is that you can sort them by citations, which means now we see the most impactful and the most important topic that's related to a topic of cubical satellites in Web of Science. And if you are doing research on cubical satellites, that's probably going to be the records that you absolutely need to make sure you read. And if you did, you probably immediately can find some ideas for your research in the same topic. That's the advanced search. So as you can see, there is already a thing that even I, with my 20 years of experience, I slipped. So I used the address search instead of the topical search. And there's also still this very important feature that we can find. Oops. So we can run a search on the affiliation, like for UTHM, for example. So we can find all of the documents belonging to UTHM. And it is very important that because we're running this affiliation search, wherever you are running this search from, you can always use this same affiliation name, and the results you're going to get exactly the reproducible results. That's the advanced search, and that's not why we really gathered today to talk about that. So let's talk more about the smart search. Here, I can also search for the documents, let's say on Internet of Things. And as you can see, it already comes up with some ideas of what to search for. So it has some semantic type ahead and some suggestions of what the topics can be that we can search for. Internet of Things and basketball, I have no idea how that relates, but you can definitely search that. And it also found matches in the journal names. So it can also assume that instead of just running a topical search, you're actually looking for a specific journal in Web of Science. And we can also do that. So let's just run a topical search on this one, and we're getting 18 results for IoT in the game of basketball. And you can also play with different variations of combination of a semantic and Boolean search. You can also change the sorting. The important thing is that this approach is quicker. It is probably easier to understand and less prone to maybe certain errors with searching. But like I said, sometimes because of this type aheads and suggestions, it can guide you to a slightly different route, and your colleague making exactly the same search from another organization somewhere in Malaysia, they might get slightly different results just because the AI behind the smart search, it has interpreted the results slightly differently. So yeah, I would encourage you to play with the smart search. It's really simple, it's really easy to understand, and it's basically our response to where the user interface and user experience for academic search is going. One more thing, actually two more important things, is that to still aid certain reproducibility, it still suggests to you how exactly we process your query. So it basically has broken down the search query that we did into two topical search terms and united them with an AND operator. So that's still converting the smart search query into a advanced search query in the Boolean search query in the backbone, and we can still change the results to just the semantic, and they might slightly different. As you can see, there's just 13 instead of 16 that we've got right now. And by default, you're normally supposed to see the documents in the results, but you can also switch between the documents and the researchers. So if you're looking for top researchers in the field, you can also use this way to search for the authors that are working in this topic, and they are also normally sorted by number of documents relevant to this. Excuse me, but in terms of the total number of documents published, but you can change this sorting to the relevance, and that way you can see the most relevant researchers related to a topic of Internet of Things in the game of basketball. Okay, so once again, there's a document search and there's a researcher search in the same smart search tab. Absolutely in a similar manner, you have the document search and the researcher search in the advanced search. And that's the two options for the search that we're offering you. So once again, the advanced search is more professional one. Probably if you're a librarian, you're probably going to use this one because it's a Boolean one and it's something that we use every day. But if you are an early career researcher, specifically if you're a student, you would probably want to go with a smart search, just because you don't really have to care about the individual metadata fields that exist in the Web of Science records and which of them you're searching for. Okay. With that, let me jump back into the slides, and there's a lot of other things that we can talk about. So let me talk you through about our academic AI platform. So what I mean by that, if we would have had this same conversation maybe a couple of years ago, like how is Clarivate implementing AI tools, specifically generative AI tools, into its products, I would tell you, oh, it's actually, we're not quite there. We have to be careful because AI, it might be dangerous. And in these 2 years, I'm proud to say that our approach to using AI, specifically generative AI, changed completely. So when we saw things like ChatGPT and how it helps all the users in the world to find to quicker find the answers to their questions. Even a couple of years ago, we were fascinated by that, and we realized that, okay, we also need to address this, because the AI in academia is like another layer, or adds another layer of complexity to the problems you're facing with every day, starting with hybrid learning, ending with research integrity. So what can we do with AI for things like Web of Science the discovery search? And with that in mind, we in Clarivate, we created a so-called academic AI platform, which we use to power a number of our tools, including, of course, Web of Science and specifically Web of Science Research Assistant. So what we did for that, what exists in the backbone? So if you are a technical person, if you know all this of this language that is related to the generative AI, you're probably gonna understand this table much better than I do. I can't say that I'm an expert in modern generative AI. Also, although I do use it every day, but I can still misunderstand certain terms there. But the idea is that we're using a GPT-like model, so it's either GPT-4 or GPT-4o mini. And we used it, but not to train it on the Web of Science dataset, but on the process that is called retrieval augmented generation. So once again, if you are a professional in generative AI, you probably know this much better than I do. But if you are not, let me just try to explain that. Retrieval augmented generation is basically a process where, if completely simplified, it's a copy of ChatGPT that gets to know all the information that exists in the 90 plus million records that exist in Web of Science, and all the academic knowledge that sits in their titles and abstracts. And with that, it is a copy of ChatGPT. So this data isn't sourced back into ChatGPT. So if you ask the same question you can ask to Web of Science Research Assistant, you're probably going to get a completely different response from ChatGPT, although they might sometimes give you something that at least supports the same point of view. But yeah, the answers that are generated by Web of Science Research Assistant are, in essence, they're completely different to what you would see in things like ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot. There's also another number of challenges that we met when creating all these tools, and one of those was the transparency and how ethical the responses are that are generated by the AI. And by that, I also mean the AI hallucinations. So as you probably know, the closer your question to a GPT-like model is, the closer it is in terms of to the boundaries of human knowledge, the higher is the probability that the generative AI is going to return to you false results, which is once again normally called AI hallucination. And we were also trying to address that issue. So obviously, our AI is not completely free of, completely safe from these AI hallucinations, but we do have tools to work around them. And what we got in the end is a chatbot that looks approximately like this, where you can just type your question in the manner you would ask ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot, and it's going to generate the summaries for you. So the idea for that is that it can search much more efficiently and in a variety of languages. So not just in English, you can also try to search in Bahasa, you can search in Chinese. And it helps you to really grasp key concepts much quicker than you would do by just studying the full text of the documents, or at least even their abstracts. And we've also added some other advanced AI technologies there to help you, first of all, discover connections between the terms that appear in the Web of Science documents, and provide you with some visualizations that you can also use to find the connections between the researchers, for example, that work on these topics. So this is approximately what your question to Web of Science Research Assistant might look like. As you can see, it's even in Chinese, and it still generates the summary also in Chinese. We're not going to try that today because I don't speak Chinese. With a list of the documents that were referenced. And this is a key point. So I'd like to drag your attention to this list of the documents that were referenced. So whenever you see anything in the summary generated by Web of Science Research Assistant that doesn't seem to add up, that doesn't seem to make sense, you always have a list of the reference documents to click them and to see the source. So you can always verify if any statement made by the AI seems like there might be an AI hallucination. You're always free to go into the live document from Web of Science and verify this in their abstract. Is it really what's been written there? That's what I mean by that. And you can click it like that, so you can just either see the title and the abstract of the document right in your Web of Science Research Assistant interface, or you can click View the Full Record, and where you're going to be dragged, you're going to be dragged into the live Web of Science interface and just see the same record as indexed there. It also allows you to, as I mentioned, take a look at the connections between the researchers who've been working on this topic, or the connections of the terms that exist in these topics. So that also sometimes helps to find some new ideas for the research that we probably won't really be able to find with the conventional search tools. So yeah, that's how we work with it. I'm going to leave some of these slides in the presentation, which I'm going to share after our session with you, so you can just memorize how these conversations can be done. And I think it's quite time to jump once again from the slides to the live demonstration. So how do we access Research Assistant? Whenever you are logging into Web of Science, you can either click the research assistant from the bottom of the page, because it already suggests to you some use cases which you can use research assistant for, or you can just click the research assistant on the top navigational tab, and you're going to be dragged exactly right here into the interface. But I'm going to press home. So as you can see, I have my chat history right here. Things that I've been discussing with Web of Science Research Assistant, and how do we work with it? So we can just ask boldly a research question that we have. Let me just ask a question on what are the current research topics in the field of, let's use the Internet of Things once again. If you are working in a different topic, and I don't know anything about Internet of Things, I'm not a researcher in this field. My diploma was in the topic of economics and management, so I'm not an expert on this. So if I misspell any of the words that I used in this topic, I do apologize in advance. But this is how we work with this thing. And if you would like me to maybe run a search on a specific topic that's more relevant to you, please feel free to drop that in the chat window. And if you have a luxury of maybe having two screens rather than one, and you can have live Web of Science and Web of Science Research Assistant interface open in another screen, I would also encourage you to try your searches in that other screen already to start grasping how more beneficial this is for the academic search than the previous generation of searches. So what it does for us, it does create an overview of what's going on in the field of, in our case, Internet of Things. It also shows you how these results were generated. So it shows you to which Boolean search it converted the query. And once again, if you're going to be asking the same prompt on your computer, it might find a completely different set of results because it's going to convert it to a slightly different or completely different Boolean search query. But the important thing is that it has generated this overview from the documents, and it has broken it down into AI integration in IoT applications. It has come up with the topic of security and privacy challenges, and the topic of scalability and interoperability issues. And finally, it generates for us a conclusion. So yeah, I probably won't be able to read all these texts for you just for the sake of time. So let me see if I can just drop the answer in the chat window. Unfortunately, I don't see that I do have access in the chat right now, so I do apologize. I probably won't be able to share it with you right away. But yeah, the important thing is you can always click the copy text and share it in an email, in a chat, or wherever else. Is that all we can do with the response? Obviously not. We can also look at the list of the reference documents, and you can see how many citations have each of them received, so how important that is, how impactful it is. And once again, like I said, if there's anything in the summary that you as an expert in this field find that doesn't make sense, you can always go to the individual record. So for example, this claim that the development of intrusion, blah, 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 it references the documents number 16 and 17. You can always go to this documents number 16 and 17 and click them and see if that's exactly what was written there and not that the AI is hallucinating. So that's how it works. As you can see, it also suggests some continuation of the conversation, and that can show to us the documents over time graph. So what's the current interest of the research society to this topic broken down by years, and you can see that there was a period of exponential growth in this topic some time ago, but now it's more or less plateaued. You can also try to see what some of the topics that it generates for us, like what's the latest advancements in IoT security protocols, and it's going to generate you a new response, a new summary, and this conversation can go like forever. You can also try to see the topic map. Let me very quickly wait until it generates the results for us. And so latest advancements in the IoT security protocols. It also generates a similarly looking summary. But I can also request that it generates for me a topic map. And a topic map is basically the list of the keywords or terms that I used in all of these documents related to a topic of Internet of Things. And it also generates the relations between them. And these relations are basically the citations. So how the documents that feature each of these terms, they cite each other. Sometimes it's mostly one-way citations. So the documents on crowd sending, they cite the documents on edge computing, but sometimes it's vice versa. The documents on Internet of Things, they cite the documents on industrial Internet of Things and vice versa. We can also see the, let's try to do it for the security protocols. We can also see the top authors in the field. And those are normally the authors that are most relevant and have the highest research output and research citations in this scholarly impact, in this field. And that's actually a great approach, because in my career of working with research evaluation, I've got asked a lot by the research community, like, Pavel, do you know a single metric that we can use to just assess the best researchers in the field? And if you would ask me this question just a couple of years ago, I would say, no, please don't do that, because there's never a single metric that we can use to apply to a researcher to find the most relevant or the best ones, because we never assess how good the researcher is. We assess different parameters of those, like research output, and we measure that in number of documents. We assess the scholarly impact, and we measure that in citations. And now we can absolutely dedicate the decision on which metrics we want to use to the AI, and it's going to show us the top researchers, no strings attached, on this list. Okay, so yeah, that's how it works approximately, and we can always start a new chat and keep exploring our topic. So this is the option number one. As of recently, we've also generated a more agentic workflows for working with the research assistant. And before I jump into the agentic workflows, let me actually jump back into the slides, because that's a really important thing. So what exactly are these agentic workflows with the Web of Science? So like I said, I'm not an expert on modern generative AI. I'm an expert on bibliometrics. But to the best of my knowledge, so just 2 or 3 years ago, we were working with just AI and machine learning. And then generative AI came, things like ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, etc. And it allowed us to go from Google-like search queries to just questions like, what do I do with this? Summarize this topic for me, etc. And then there are AI agents, which are basically the next iteration of generative AI development. It's just that they follow a certain workflow for you. And in the ideal world, like I understand, they can also help us to execute really complex tasks. Like if there is an AI agent that has your credit card available, you can easily tell it, like, find the best flights from Kuala Lumpur to Singapore for me, and purchase these flights for me. And it can do that on your behalf. I've heard that these tools exist. It's just that I haven't been using them. And specifically, it's really funny to hear about all these stories when you go to the chatbot of your bank or of your airline and start chatting to it, and it's still in 2025. It gets back to you saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't think I understood your question. Can you please paraphrase it?" And all you want to do is just, please give me a live person to talk to you, to talk to. So again, AI agents is the thing that is going to is being implemented in a lot of tools right now, and Web of Science Research Assistant is one of them. So it's going to be smart. It will probably almost never tell you, "I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question." Instead, what it does is it kind of controls the workflow. It helps you to simplify or refine your query, and it helps you to define what exactly you want from it, so that the results returned by the AI agent are more relevant and more insightful to you. So there are several workflows that we have there. The next level of understanding the topic, the literature review 2.0, and finding a relevant journal for your manuscript. And like I said, it basically works with optimization of your initial query, customizing it, and defining what exactly you want to receive from the bot. So I will leave to you some of the additional information about how exactly this process is done. But what's important is this is approximately what the workflow looks like for the literature review process. So yes, you are normally not supposed to be using AI to completely generate the text of your scholarly paper, of your research. But what you can still do with the Web of Science Research Assistant is to try and generate something like a literature review for you and base your research on that. So there's no way you can copy paste that as a literature review section of your paper and just paste it there. But you can use it as a driver or as some inspiration for your research ideas. Okay. And let me just very briefly show you how it looks like. So you can ask it like create a detailed literature review on the impact of increasing greenhouse gases on climate change. And instead of just giving you a summary of that, Web of Science Research Assistant is gonna create for you like this is approximately what this topic looks like, which exact subtopics you would like to focus on. And you can give it some response like this is what I'm interested in, and these are the publication years which I'm interested in. And it's going to further refine the search strategy for you, refine the search query, and specify which sections you want to receive in the response. So things like potential hypothesis, or things like gaps in research, or anything else. And this is how it's going to return to you a much more added value, a much more interesting result. So let's jump into the live interface once again, and I'm going to show you how this literature review can be done. So let me click that. And let's start the literature review. Let's try to pick maybe a slightly different topic. Let me try to start with the topic of, let's say, cheese fermentation. Like I already, as you can see, I tried to do that already for a few times. Cheese fermentation, maybe lactic acid bacteria in cheese fermentation. And the workflow 1.0, like I just been showing to you, what it would do in this step is it's just gonna throw into me a summary of all these topics. But here it asks me to assist you effectively. Could you specify what you're looking for regarding this? Are you interested in literature review, identifying research gaps, exploring research hotspots, or formulating hypotheses? I would say I'm interested in all of that. And what it's going to do next is it's going to try to send a preliminary search query into Web of Science and see that this is approximately how it's going. The response should be structured. And these are the topics which it has already found that it knows they exist in the Web of Science. And if we're interested in any of them, so, okay, let's talk about maybe health benefits of lactic acid bacteria in cheese. And it's going to focus on that topic only, but I could also easily send like all of them. And these are the search terms that it has found relevant, and that it's going to try to submit to the Web of Science search query to execute the search strategy. And it once again asks me, does that seem like a valid search strategy, or would you like me to adjust any of these terms? And I would say this is fine to me, again, not being an expert on lactic acid bacteria in cheese fermentation. And it also comes back with the search window. It suggests restricting the search results to the last 10 years. I could also say something like, give me search results for all of the years, but I don't think it's going to be practical to search for all of the Web of Science access that I do have Instead, I might want to just limit it for maybe the last 2 years. Let's limit it with 2024 and of 2025. I think it understood my my suggestion. To clarify, would you like to include the articles published in the beginning of, from the beginning of 2024 to the end of 2025? Is that correct? And I'm specifically mentioning this because right now, as we are sitting in November 2025, we can already find documents that are going to be published in December 2025, even in early 2026. So I can even tell this, like, actually, let's even try to search for the documents with a publication date of 2026. And not even that's a bad word. Let's also try to search documents with publication date of 2026. That is called early access. So sometimes we can receive metadata on the records that were already accepted by the publisher, but they haven't yet been assigned a formal volume and issue, but they are already going to be published. So this knowledge is already made publicly available. So it has searched and returned 111 articles to this field, to this relevant to this topic. And because this is quite an expensive operation from the AI perspective, so you probably remember how much it contributes to the heat produced by the AI servers. We do have currently a limitation of that we can work with a maximum of 50 articles for the comprehensive analysis. So it can start by processing 25 articles, but we can increase this number to 50. So out of these 111 articles, it is going to take the 50 articles and generate this summary for me like that. So again, we're trying to increase that number. We're working with our data science team to see how this number can further be increased. But once again, because this is a very expensive operation, the maximum that we can afford at the moment is 15. And we're nearly there. So actually, we're there. So it has generated for us this literature review. It does consist of an introduction. It does consist of the common themes and key findings, just like we had in the summary section a while ago. But it also shows us the gaps in the research. So which topics doesn't seem to be research at the moment. So what doesn't make sense, what doesn't connect in the current research on using the lactic acid bacteria in cheese fermentation for your gut health. It also generates a conclusion for you and comes up with some hypothesis. So I wouldn't probably suggest to you that you just use this list of hypotheses to write your next paper, but this can be a great source of ideas of what you can explore in your further research. So consumption of lab fermented cheese, lactic acid bacteria fermented cheese improves gut microbiota diversity and enhances immune response. Specific strains in cheese fermentation contribute to the reduction of cholesterol levels in consumers. Is there a way I can set up an experiment that could prove or disapprove that? So as you can see, some of these ideas, to me, they seem quite general, maybe not super exciting, but some of them actually push me into thinking of how can I design an experiment that would allow to check that hypothesis. And I also have to think to myself, is this a hot topic that's going to be beneficial to the society and to the research community or not? So yeah, all these ideas, I can go ahead and just start researching them. And as always, we will have a list of the reference documents right here, so we can also verify if anything that the model just said that doesn't make sense. You can also check the live documents and see what exactly was written there. Okay. There are a few other agentic workflows here, like a topic explorer. So once again, let's get back to the topic of Internet of Things. Let's see how it works in the agentic workflow. So I'm asking, explore the
Mr.
topic.
Pavel,
Yes, please.
there's a question there from
Oh yeah,
Safar.
please let me try to open up the chat window if I can do that. Yeah, there we go, the chat window. Why do AI agents sometimes give different answers when asked the same question twice? Yeah, well, that's a great question. Like I said, the closer we are to the boundaries of human knowledge, the higher there are the chances that the AI model will start uh, inventing concept, will start inventing the facts that are not actually true. So that's the way the AI models work. In the end of the day, all they are is just they are all based in the technology of text forecasting, so text prediction, excuse me. So when we had this text prediction in the iPhones like a while ago, that's almost the technology that it is based behind the modern GPT-like tools. So it doesn't think in itself. It doesn't have its own set of let's say beliefs. What it does is it just types for you the response that is most relevant to your question. And yeah, I've also gotten this into this situation that I can ask the same question that is not researched yet adequately, and it can generate exactly different outcomes for me. So I give you an example. I'm sometimes suffer from migraine attacks, and a few years ago I was trying to find if there is a connection between creatine consumption and migraine attacks. And 2 years ago, ChatGPT would tell me, no, there's a positive correlation between consuming creatine and migraine attacks. Don't consume creatine if you don't want your migraine attacks to become harder, more frequent, etc. But the reality is it's actually the other way around. I am currently consuming creatine to decrease the severity and the frequency of my migraine attacks. So they almost got away completely, not completely, but closer to that. But it is important to understand that we can't trust completely what it says. You should also always check what the generative AI is telling you, and if it doesn't make any sense, that's exactly where we're offering you to actually go into individual Web of Science articles that it's referencing and check their text, their abstracts by yourself. So yeah, unfortunately, AI is not a perfect thing. Otherwise, I think we would be living in a completely different world right now. But thanks for asking this question. It's a really important one. I hope I helped at least partially answer it. So yeah, with exploring the topic, I hope I'm still sharing my screen. Please let me know if you don't see the explore it topic screen right now. But I hope you can. But what I wanted to do is just once again try to explore the topic of Internet of Things. And this way, it's the summary it's going to generate for us is probably going to be somewhat similar to the topic that we've just explored like 10 minutes ago. It also generates to me a summary of what is the Internet of Things. It also generates to me a list of main topics and subtopics. It also generates for me the related topics. And then it tells me, would you like to dive deeper into related topics? I can also help you find review articles, identify top authors, leading institutions in this area, blah, blah, blah. So if there's anything that's here that is interesting for me, we can also like, so I can tell it, let's further explore the subtopic of smart home and Internet of Things. And this conversation can go on forever. So the more precise my questions get, the more precise the response of the model is, and unfortunately, the higher is the probability of an AI hallucination. But like I said, we can always verify it with the individual Web of Science articles. So it comes up with related topics. We can also continue exploring the. Let's explore the blockchain in smart home IoT. So yeah, we can go forever with this. And I'm just going to show you some of the cool stuff that it can do for us, the ones that the standard, like the 1.0 model is not capable of doing. So as you can see, it suggests, so while it's generating the summary for me, it also suggests to dive deeper into specific subtopic, and it comes up with these ideas. And it also can help us find review articles, visualize documents, trends, generate word clouds. identify top authors and institution, or explore country level research activity. So if this all exists, let's explore the research activity in this topic that comes from Malaysia only. And if it exists, it obviously going to generate only the records that are coming from Malaysia that are relevant to this topic. So let's see what it responds to us. I'm probably working very thin ice right now because I'm improvising a lot to show you what it's capable of. And sometimes, yeah, it can tell us that, okay, Malaysia has contributed 17 documents to the research of blockchain and smart home IoT. According to Web of Science data, would you like to see specific Malaysian authored documents? Explore top Malaysian institutions on this topic. Let's explore top Malaysian institutions. And it's going to show us the organizations, hopefully from Malaysia, that are working the most actively in the topic of, let me review them once again, of blockchain in smart home IoT. I have no idea what that means. I don't research this topic at all. As you can see, I already went really far away in the rabbit hole, but we still can see all these responses, and all of them are linked to individual documents. So we will be able, whenever it shows us the top Malaysian organization, again, I hope they're still going to be Malaysian, unless the ChatGPT, excuse me, the Web of Science Research Assistant is going to come with any of this. So yeah, it says that the top contributor is National Institute of Technology and IT System. I can say, give me the list of their documents on this topic. I hope it's still going to generate them for me, and from there I can go to exploring the documents themselves. So yeah, we are already quite, yeah, these are the list of these documents, but it is important that I really no idea why I asked it to explore top institutions, and I see that it only returned to me one of them, and I don't really know if it's a Malaysian one or not. But yeah, this is how it works at a very granular level. The more general your question is, the more results you're probably going to get. And normally the results look like the list of the organizations with a link to their profiles, with a link to their subset of papers dedicated to this topic, and all of that stuff. Okay, so that's the way you can explore the topic. Probably one final thing is that we can also explore the related concepts. So let's explore the related concepts on this topic. And again, if the number of documents is enough, it will probably visualize for me the relations between these concepts, as I've just been showing to you a few minutes ago with the standards summary. Yeah, visualize the topic network. And this way it's going to plot different terms that I used in this topic. Yeah, there we go. So like green software, for example, it is citing the documents that contain the word enterprise architecture framework, and it cites the documents that contain the acronym of EPSIS. But at the same time, the documents that contain this acronym, they also cite back the documents on green software. This is the first time I'm hearing this concept, green software. I think I understand what it's about. But yeah, this is the way you can continue exploring new stuff in the modern research and the modern trending topics. I hope that is as exciting for you as is it for me. Again, I try to present on the topics that I don't know anything about, and imagine how many cool stuff you can mine there when you just searching for a topic that you are excited about, that you conduct your research in. So yeah, that would be cool. And the final thing that I wanted to show to you is the find a journal workflow. Let's assume you've already prepared your paper, you already have your manuscript, you formulated the, you created the bibliography section for this, and it's ready to be submitted to a journal. How do we select the relevant journal? So yeah, let's find a journal in your research area. And okay, you're probably sick and tired of Internet of Things, but let me use it for one last time. So let's find the journal on Internet of Things. And it's not just going to come back with a list of the journals for me. It should probably also, and again, sometimes the workflows, they might work slightly different. It can come back to me saying that in case I can further specify the topic of my paper, it can get back to me with a higher or the more relevant um, with a more relevant list of journals. So yeah, I don't quite see it here, but very frequently it just gets back to me saying, hey, can you actually share with me the title of your paper and the abstract of your paper? And let me just try to find anything like I'll probably get back into literature review and get back into find a journal and tell that the title of my paper is this. Find me the best journals. And let's wait for some time for it to generate the summary for us. Yeah, now the list of the journals is completely different. We have the food chemistry. As long as we're subscribed to journal citation reports, we'll also see its journal impact factor and journal citation indicator. We have the journal bioresource technology. As you can see, the match score is much lower than the food chemistry, but the impact factor is still quite high. We have some other journals here. So if I'm an early career researcher and I don't have any papers published in really top-notch journals, I can also target this journal. For example, it seems like it's still relevant to the topic of the article that I just created. So yeah, as you can see, I copy pasted the title of the abstract as I just taken it from the literature review that it is just it was an idea, but I also use this a lot to like demonstrate all the cool features that the Web of Science Research Assistant is capable of doing. All right, so we are already 1 hour into the presentation, and at this point, I would just like to summarize to you what Research Assistant is capable of doing. So it is capable of just helping you research a topic. Just shoot a question into it. It's going to generate for you a summary, and it even has some ideas for you, like what exactly can you ask it in different languages and with different types of prompts. It can help you generate a literature review, which is a longer process. It is going to be asking you questions about how would you like your literature review to be cooked, but that way it gives to you something absolutely precious, things like a gap analysis, like what are the current research gaps, what is under-researched in the topic, and it also generates for you the list of potential hypotheses which you can verify, and if anything of that rings a bell to you, you can also convert this into a specific experiment that you can carry out. There is a topic explorer, which is basically an agentic way of this this process that we just try to do. And there is a way for you to find a journal to publish your research in. Unfortunately, it won't just submit the manuscript for you. You still have to go to the publisher website and probably fill in the form and submit your manuscript from there through the web form. But yeah, it also helps you to find the most relevant and the most impactful journals that are going to be available to you. I see that there are some questions appeared in the chat. Let me answer them. I'm sorry, I'll jump back into is there any limitation to using Research Assistant like other AI? Well, all of them are still guided just by the general research integrity practices. So, like I said, you're probably not supposed to just copy paste the literature review into your literature review section of your paper. So use it as a source of the ideas for the research. Use it as a source of advice that would help you to grasp core concepts quicker. The only thing is that I would probably not encourage you to replace the actual process of experimenting, of generating hypotheses with just the AI. So can we use the tech directly in our manuscript as turning easily detected as AI written? Absolutely. Thank you for the question. And the answer is no. I would not encourage you to just copy paste that into your work. So what we were showing you today is exactly the workflow that can still advise you on the ideas. So again, the ideas for like literature review, let me get back to this, is like these are the potential hypotheses. And me seeing them, I would try probably to think about, should I really explore this topic? Or does it not seem specific enough? Does it not seem to be important enough? Does it not seem to be potentially impactful enough for the research community and for the society? If the answer is no, probably I won't even be doing anything like that. But I definitely will not encourage you to just copy paste this into your manuscript. Please don't do that. Just use it as a source of ideas and a source of information for your further research. Another example, can I reference this in my paper? I would also probably say, as is, I will not reference any of the responses of Web of Science Research Assistant in my papers, but because it helps me find important information that has been discussed in the papers. So like if it says that research on consumer acceptance of lab fermented cheese products, no, that's not specific enough. Lab strains have shown promising results in surviving simulated gastric conditions and bile. So can I use this like a confirmed idea that has been already published in this paper? I would say no. In order to put this claim as a reference in my paper, instead I would just click the record, go into the documents, maybe even try to view the full record. If I do have an access to full text, I would probably try to access this free text on the publisher website if it's not an access document. And yeah, it seems like it is. So I would find this claim in the text and reference that claim that is made in the original text. Please don't reference whatever Web of Science Research Assistant is showing you. The reason behind that is it can never be verified by an external peer reviewer. Like, did this actually happen, or did Web of Science Research Assistant tell something completely different to you? And what can be verified is still the original text of the document that's referenced here. So I hope that helps clarify what's the difference between just using these as a source of ideas and a source of links to the papers, and actually helping this generate text that you can integrate into your scholarly papers. I hope that makes sense. We still have a few minutes, and let me just jump back into the slides to make one final summary of what we've just discussed. So first of all, we've been discussing a few types of searches that you can use in the Web of Science right now. So you can use the advanced search. If you are intermediate to an expert user, you're probably going to keep using that one. And the reasons behind that is that it's a Boolean search. It's something that we've been using in the industry for dozens of years, and it's very reproducible, unlike the results that are thrown into you by the research assistant or by the GPT-like. So whatever if you can design an advanced search query in the Web of Science, be sure that your colleague in another university can also generate the same results with that. Now, there's smart search that interprets your search query. It has some type ahead, some suggestions. It is multilingual. It generates some additional analysis for you, and you can even toggle between Boolean and semantic results with that. If you are a beginning to intermediate user, I would recommend you to use that one. It doesn't mean you can't use advanced search. I would still encourage you to keep exploring this possibility, just because it increases your user experience as a discovery researcher. And finally, there is Research Assistant, which is, I think, applicable for all user levels, starting from students that haven't been working with scientific databases before at all, ending with a researcher that already has dozens of papers in top quality journals globally. You can still use Research Assistant because it helps. Let me actually explain why exactly. That it helps you to understand the key topics much quicker. It helps you grasp key concepts much quicker, and it's responsible. So it not just shows you the summary, and we don't encourage you to just copy paste those summaries into your papers, but it does reference individual scholarly documents. You can always go and verify for yourself, like, this is exactly the claim I want to use this is the part of the research that I want to base my research on. So this is how approximately this is done. And again, it really contracts the time that passes between you ask your question to a chatbot and where you find specific answer to your unique questions. With that, I will probably end my presentation, but we are not ending our session. I'm pretty sure there might still be some questions out there. And I'm happy to jump back into the Google Meet interface to see if there are any questions. Let me see the chat. I'm not stopping to share, because if there is going to be any question that will ask me to show it in the interface once again, I normally forget to share the screen once again. So let me see what we have in the chat that is still not answered. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat once again, or maybe if that's okay for you, go put yourself off mute and try to ask your question verbally. So thank you. Yeah, I don't see any new. Yeah, what is the required amount of quotation in a single sentence? Dr. Khatam, I don't think I understand the question. Like, what's the required amount of quotation in a single sentence? Could you possibly elaborate on that?
Yes, I just want to ask how long we can make a citation from the articles. How long? One sentence, then we can mention the writer. Then after that, we can write another citation from the same topic, or we can change to another writer.
Yeah, I actually never thought about that. So the way I normally put scholarly references in my articles is when there is an idea that might be questioned by the future readers of my articles. Like, is this actually true what he's saying? And I need to add a firm proof that this has already been researched somewhere, and that this supports the original claim. That way, I'm going to add a reference. So I know it doesn't really answer your question directly, but it's the idea that can be questioned. Like, we don't need to add proofs on things like Earth is circling around the sun. Like, this is a fact. People already know that. There probably was a research sometime in the medieval times where people were proving that this actually happens, but we don't need this at this point. However, if we want to make sure that there are certain things on Internet of Things, for example, which we referenced, that have been researched already, and I need to add this as a proof in my paper, I would probably do that. But how long is this? If your question is about how long this reference should be, I would just try to follow the style of your the academic style of your paper. If you really think you want to elaborate on this to make it clearer for your researchers, you can dedicate a paragraph to that. you can explain why this matters and what sort of research was done about that, and still add the reference. Sometimes it's much more clearer to your readers, like that this is a concept that everything is aware of, and you just need to add a link that is a proof that this has been researched already, and we're saving time and space in my article, not explaining something that was already precisely researched. So I'm afraid there are no clear guidelines here. The only guideline here would be use your common sense and try to make your paper informative. So I don't think there's any formal limitations that are going to restrict or encourage you to do certain things, like do this a certain amount of quotation. Think about your readers. Would this length of a quotation be still exciting for them? Would it be informative enough? Would it make it clear for them? So I would try to ask these questions. There probably are not formal guidelines to how this is done. It's purely that the article that you're creating is for a future readership audience. Just think about them to use common sense to just justify it. Again, I'm sorry, the answer is not precise enough, but if there were any precise guidelines of that, I'll probably share them with you. Thank you for the question. Any other questions that we have?
Yes, any other question from participants? We have another 10 minutes, I guess, before the session ends. Okay, Mr. Babak, I guess there is no question so far. Maybe you can share your email if they want to get back to you later.
Sure. It's still gonna come with the slides. So this is my email address. Please feel free. I think I can even like pin it so that everybody sees it. So feel free to use this email to reach out to me. Any questions you have about Web of Science Research Assistant, about Web of Science itself, I'm also happy to answer your emails. I see there is another question. In the literature review, can the research assistant summarize the articles that related to research topics? Well, actually, I never tried that, like summarize individual articles. But let's check if it can do that. So we have this. And in the topic explorer, no, I probably should do this in the have research question. There is an article named summarize for me. I don't think it's the best option here, because what we index into Web of Science core collection, this is important to understand, is, yeah, it actually just referenced one document. I would expect to have a lot of AI hallucinations here, because this is a huge piece of text. But the important thing is, if you look at the document itself, this is the abstract that we have. So it doesn't have access to the full text of the document. This is really important to understand. We here at Clarivate, because we're not a publisher, all we have is the titles and the abstracts of the document. And we generate summaries for you just based on the abstracts, not on the full text. So whatever is written here, the AI just tried to summarize this. To me, personally, I think that reading the abstract is actually a better summary of one document than this AI can do for me. So technically speaking, I can do that. I'm not sure if any of this is true, and this is exactly what's written in the abstract. I'm assuming that some of this might actually be the AI hallucinations. I would encourage you to try that and see for yourself. But what the research assistant is really good for is summarizing a huge corpus of documents for you. In order to summarize an individual document, if I need to summarize its full text, if I have the access to the full text, I would probably just go to the standard ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot to ask it summarize that for me, in case I really, really want in case that document is not super, I don't find it super relevant to me, or super exciting, I'll just try do that. And based on the summary, I will try to judge if I really need to read the full text of the document and understand all the knowledge that's contained there. But thank you very much for the question. Any other questions?
Any question, participants? We have another 5 minutes, maybe. Okay, I guess that's it so far. Maybe they were coming for a new question for you, Mr. Pavel, in person, I guess.
Absolutely.
So,
if you're going to have any questions in the future, please feel free to drop me an email. I'll definitely answer you.
yeah, of course. So before we wrap up, please remember to fill in the attendance form shared in the chat box. The recording of this session will be updated on PTT's YouTube channel. We share the link on the chat box also. Once again, thank you, Mr. Pavel, for the time. And thank you so much for all participants for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you again in our upcoming PTTA databases training sessions. Stay curious and stay inspired. Have a great day ahead. Mr. Pavel, thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. Thank you. Thank you all.